Hello everyone, my name is the Radman, and we are here in Farming Simulator 2015, more specifically Westbridge Hills, to do a courseplay tutorial. So, in this tutorial is going to be about the basic grain transportation, like transporting grain from the silos to the selling point, and also how to use a basic wagon, like the starting combine and the starting trailer, to automatically harvest this field right here. And then in the next episode we'll introduce overloaders into the mix. But anyway, so the first thing we're going to do is mess around with the most simple type of course in courseplay. So I'll just give you a real quick rundown of what all these tabs are, and then we'll get into it. We have the combine, I can't remember what they call it, but it's like basically requesting a driver to come unload you if you're a combine. We have the, I'm just going to call it the play, pause, everything. This is where you start course recording or calculate a field's length, which is something I think it's new this year, but I have all the fields scanned automatically, so we don't have to worry about that, and I would recommend you turn that on. It'll ask you when you first load up a save with courseplay if you want that on or not. Do it, it's nice. Anyway, and then what we have here is all the saves. These are two saves that I need to get rid of, because this is the second time I've recorded this tutorial. This is the settings, which is like more detailed settings once you pick what type of course you're using. This is for tippers that need to find a combine to tell them what combine to find. This is the speed limits, which is basically just saying how fast something can go on in what conditions. This is the actual courseplay settings themselves. You usually don't need to mess with these unless you need to like change the key binding or something. For like by default it's right mouse opens it up, and then if you click right mouse again you get your camera so you can look around while you're recording courses. And we also have the, there's actually a name for them. Let's see, what is this? This is the driving settings, which we don't have any because we have no course selected, but this is like if you have an implement that needs to be shifted half a meter over, you can shift it half a meter over. And here we have the generating routes, which is an automatic way of generating a route compared to the manual way, which is here. And then this is only for like shovel stuff, like if you were shoveling biogas into a biogas plant, the settings for that are in here. I think I've never actually used it. I'll have to make sure that I know that before we get to that part of this tutorial. And anyway, so this is pretty well the only panel that you need to understand, is this first one here to get your basic setup going, because I'll just list these off. What we have here is grain transport, which is loading at start, which is the simplest form and what I'm going to show you first. We also have combine, empty, combine, and offload, which is just emptying the combine, driving to the either a selling point or the silo unloading point, and then going back to the combine. Overloader, which is a slightly more complex version of that involves two tractors instead of one. And we also have fertilizing and seeding mode, which is even more complex. Transfer mode, which is just driving from start to finish. And we also have fieldwork, which is a highly adaptable mode that can pick up on quite a few unique things. We have this mode, which is for making a course so that a combine can unload itself. And we also have manure I don't even know how you're supposed to say that. Manure transporter, which is a complex way of fertilizing compared to the normal fertilizing that uses liquid manure. I'm pretty sure. I don't think solid manure might actually work, but there's one or two more steps if you use solid manure. And fill an empty shovel. Anyway, that took way too long. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to make a grain transport course. So we're going to start recording. And we started recording with the trailer under the spout, which is important because that means it will get filled up. Because by default, the under the settings you can set what the trailer will be loaded with. And when you start the course, it'll try and load the trailer full of that, or to however much you set it for, but I'll show you more about that in a second. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try and drive along the roads, just because ideally you want to keep your more autonomous courses like this one, where you aren't going to be watching them all the time. You want to take them down less populated roads or through the middle of fields that you do not plan on buying. Make sure that if you plan on buying a field, you do not put automated courses through it, because then you might hit your combine with something that's automatically driving through it to unload or something, which is a problem I have had in a different save after I fixed a few things. Anyway, and then what I do is I slow down, just because sometimes the points don't register unless you slow down. And then we'll just turn around and drive back. And while you could stop the course and hope that the overloader will automatically drive back, when you're around generated-in structures like the houses, courseplay kind of forgets that they're there and will try and drive right into them, and then wonder why it doesn't work. It's amazing. Anyway, and then so we'll continue driving on, and we'll probably set up the combine while we run one of these courses. And if it's successful, which it should be, because I'm looking at a manual of how to set everything up just to make sure I'm actually telling you right. Anyway, yeah, what I was trying to say was, according to the manual, this is how you should do it. And I haven't figured out, like, how these courses, like, restart, because I personally haven't used them, because I have a world where I sell a bunch of silage to make money instead of selling grain, so there's not much of a reason to sell grain for me, but there probably is for most of you, because it's the way that you make money at the start. And important, remember this, is the start and stop of a course, especially a transfer course or a grain transport course, should at least be a little bit away from each other. Train transport 1. But if they're in a straight line, it's less likely that everything will be messed up. And anyway, now what we can do, that's the wrong button. I saw it once because I said it wrong, but I can't remember. No. Oh, there it is. So now we are going to load wheat, just because that's also what we're going to be harvesting. We're going to load wheat, and we're going to say, I don't know what this actually affects if you're in this mode. Maybe that's like how I don't think the silos have a max capacity, so I think we'll just set this to 0. So if the trailer is empty, start at this and only go when it's full. So yeah, that looks like it's going right. And there should be, if there's errors or if the trailer is like switching states, see it's saying how much it has to load before it'll go. And then once it's reached, it'll start driving. Now, for the sake of time, we're going to skip to the combine. And what we're going to do is set it to fieldwork mode, which we could set it to combine self-unloading, but that's more complex, and we'll probably do it at the same time that we do overloading. Plus, I don't have a trailer to record it with right now. So what we're going to do is, with it in fieldwork mode, we're going to come over here to the course generation tab and select field 16, which is the only one that's here. Ignore the user thing, it's just because in the previous recording I had to manually set the size of this field because something went wrong. Click this to find out how big the header is. And then we need to, if we look at the map, we need to start in the northwest corner, or northeast, sorry. Northeast, and we need to go west so that we're going across instead of up and down. So now if we get rid of the map and click here, there we go, that appears. And if we click save, this is field 16 combine. And what I do for naming like my fields and stuff, or my courses, is I name them what field they are and what machine uses it. Because like, oh, there we go, we're making money, so that means that the trailer just reached there, so I'll have to start watching for it to get back. Oh, almost forgot a very important part. I did this last time too. What you need to do now is, since we're in a combine that the header sticks out in front, we need to offset the header by about 3 meters, because that's usually, unless you have a weird modded header, that will usually be the space of 3 meters from the start of the header to where the combine actually counts as a collision, because it's, oops, wrong button, because it's looking for the header, it's looking for the combine, not the header. But anyway, now we'll see it'll start going along this course, and in the settings we can make it see all the courses, or all the waypoints. So now it's going to just go back and forth that many times until it gets done, and we'll get all those, because I like keeping the start and end ones off but not any other ones, just because they're distracting, especially the full ones. Anyway, so now what we'll do is right on time, actually, we'll just stop this guy and take over, and we're going to now set him to combine mode. And since I've saved this, I can click this X, and look, now we have no course loaded, but if we want to, we just click this and it'll be loaded again. I mean this one, not that one. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start a course recording. You'll want to start this near the field that you're actually offloading from, because what's going to happen is when the trailer gets full, it's going to go back to the start point before coming here, and then we'll slow down again at the unloading point and turn around, which is easy since we're just hauling a small trailer. And then we're going to stop away enough from the start that we could fully turn around to get back to it, but not right behind it, because that can sometimes make it just go in circles infinitely for some reason. Now we'll save this as unloading 1, because it's the first unloading course that we've made. I just call them unloading because it's easier to remember than whatever the manual calls them. And now if we set drive after we set this, so we want the combine to be 80% full, and we will drive on at 90%, because I'm pretty sure that's about the ratio that you need, just so the combine doesn't get full and you don't run out of any, you don't end up having the combine 90% full while you're still driving around unloading. And now what we can do is go over to the combine, and if we come over to here, we'll click it's requesting a driver. So the second that we assign a driver, the combine will request it. So what we're going to come back over here and do is go under this tab, which is the Manage Combines tab, and automatic search has never worked for me, so we just go down here and we see it's now realized that's a combine, and that combine realized it has a tractor, so now it's requesting the tractor since I told it to. And now if courseplay realizes what's going on, it's going to pull up behind and start getting offloaded. And if you look down here, you can see it's telling what's going on. So like it's driving to the combine, driving next to it, and then after it's done offloading, the combine will tell the driver to stop, so that the combine can pull forward enough that they're not going to hit each other. And we'll see that happen once it unloads enough. We got 17%. Up in the top left-hand corner is how I know where everything is. So now it's combine is telling me to stop. And now if I tell it to drive now, which is basically telling it ignore the fact that you're not loaded, just drive, it's going to go over here and it's going to basically find the first waypoint that it can get to easily on the path going this way from start. And I believe it can take any of those first 3 waypoints that you can see by default. And now what it's going to do is slow down here, and it says the tip trigger has been reached. Could have obviously driven a little bit faster because it does automatically stop. Sometimes if you go too fast though, it'll skip over them. And yeah, so now it's going to go turn around and go back. And what we could actually do is, now let's say we were done harvesting, we could say, well, now I want to sell that, so we could just say do this and drive course. And now I had it automatically pick up the nearest waypoint that it could find, which it did. So now what it should do is just drive through, unless, oh, I still have to set this back down. I'm not quite sure what it's measuring with the start one. Uh-oh. I think I loaded the wrong course. Okay. Load. Grain transport 1. Oh, it's confused because I have that in the wrong mode. Doi. Ha ha ha, that's interesting. So now what it should do is continue. And yeah, we'll just make sure, because like I said, I don't know what it's looking for when it stops there, but obviously it didn't stop, so who knows what it's looking for. But now it's just going to go and continue, and it'll continue to do this. So like, let's say you had a great demand and you already had courses set up to each of the sell points. This would be really easy for great demands, because you just go to your biggest tipper, load the course that has that goes to, let's say, the what's one of the names, let's just say you loaded one of the courses to the train station. You just tell it whatever it needed to pick up. Obviously, if you were doing potatoes or sugar beets, you'd have to have a different course set up just for potatoes and sugar beets. But yeah, that would be a really easy way to do great demands, because then you just have it sell everything. Or I'm pretty sure that there are ways to actually figure out what that is searching for. I just don't know them. Let's see. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. My name is the Rad Man, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.